So there's been a fair bit of negativity and doom and gloom in the games industry recently, and because I cover the news on my channel, that has transferred itself over into my content. But I do want to switch gears a little bit and talk about something that is very much positive and exciting. Bethesda might be revealing a new Doom game at the upcoming Xbox showcase next month. This is according to one journalist who isn't even actually outright saying it, but he's very much implying it and hinting at it and being a cheeky bugger doing so. So let's look at what's been going on when it comes to Bethesda, this potential Doom game, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content from me, please like, subscribe if you're new, with notifications if that's possible. But let's get right into the news. Okay, so for this video, we're going to be using this IGN article as our base. It is linked in the description below, and it is titled "Doom Heavily Rumored for Xbox June Showcase Amid Bethesda Trademark and Other Hints." It starts off by saying, rumors that a new Doom game is on the horizon are heating up thanks in part to a new trademark filing via Eurogamer. I will go to this trademark filing in a second because I want to see what we can glean directly from it. But continuing for a second, the pending US trademark filed by Microsoft's Zenimax Media is for a project called IDK-FA. Now, if you're a Doom fan, you'll probably recognize this as a cheat code from the original Doom. I think it technically means ID keys full ammunition, given what the code's actually used for. But my headcanon is that it's I don't know fuck all. That's what I'm just going to say. I know that's wrong. I think it actually is the former. But continuing on, longtime fans of developer id Software will recognize the string of letters as a famous cheat code for the original Doom that grants players access to all in-game weapons and keys with full ammo and armor. So if we go to the actual trademark filing, you can see here that it is a new application, so it hasn't been approved yet. Sometimes this stuff takes a little bit of time, whether it's weeks, if not months. And it is from Zenimax Media directly. We will find that in a second. It is not from Microsoft specifically. So Zenimax Media is still very much handling, from what it seems anyways, trademark applications for anything Bethesda related. And that makes sense. They have the team and the lawyers to do that. So why not continue with the status quo? Why does Microsoft need to take that over? Unless they decide to further consolidate, and that's another discussion for a different video. But this is in application right now. It's not approved yet. And the important thing to note here are all of these classifications. They mostly have to do with video games, and a bit of inside baseball here because I used to deal with this stuff when I used to be a lawyer. However, when you're applying for trademarks in general, you have to have an intention to actually use the trademark. If you don't, it's going to be knocked back. But specifically as well, when you're indicating the specific classifications you want your trademark to apply to, they also have to be classifications you have an intention to use. If you don't, you might be knocked back, at least when it comes to those specific classifications. So as you would expect, a lot of these have to do with video games. If this is for Doom, and the implication is heavily that it is, then you're going to see a lot of video game classifications here. So recorded computer game software, downloadable computer game software via a global computer network and wireless devices, downloadable computer game software for personal computers and home video game consoles, and they even mention here downloadable computer game software for use on mobile and cellular phones and handheld computers, etc., etc., etc. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean if this is a game that it's actually coming to mobile. They just have to have an intention to use this trademark for that particular classification, but they might not actually do that in the end. They could say, you know what, we thought about it, it was on a plan, we wrote it down, but we ended up not using it. They're just doing it now to protect as much as they can when it comes to this trademark, and all they really need to say is that, yeah, we have an intention, so why not approve our application? So it might not mean this actually does come to mobile, but it's just there as a just in case for them to protect it. Similar when it comes to here, goods and services, entertainment services, namely providing online computer games, entertainment services, namely providing temporary use of non-downloadable computer games. Even the production of music is here. And obviously that's very important when it comes to Doom. We know how important music is specifically for Doom. They're probably going to do a soundtrack and all that kind of stuff when it comes to this potential new Doom game. But yeah, again, not everything here is necessarily going to be used, especially when and I've even highlighted it here, especially when it comes to this classification. So there's a lot of random stuff here that you would never ever think that would be used for Doom. So scientific, nautical, surveying, electric, photographic, cinematographic, optical, weighing, measuring, signaling, checking, a lot of random stuff, life-saving and teaching apparatus and instruments. what could possibly be used for that when it comes to Doom, a video game? Doesn't make any sense. But it does make a little bit of sense when you reach this point here where it says magnetic data carriers recording discs. So that's specifically relevant for Doom in some sort of way. So because of that, they have to indicate this whole classification class, this whole number 9 international class, or NIS class as they're called. They have to put this down for the whole trademark because they want to protect this specific section here. So even though a lot of this stuff might seem irrelevant and redundant, it's still going to come up, right? So again, a lot of this stuff is completely weird. Cash registers and calculating machines? Who the hell knows? We continue here. Again, another international class for education, providing of training, entertainment, sporting, and cultural activities. Are they providing training here? Of course not, but it's for entertainment, right? Maybe even for cultural activities. So a lot of different classifications here. And as you can see, it was applied for by Zenimax Media and not Microsoft or Xbox specifically. And I think that's about it. The one thing that I do want to note is that the application date was earlier this year. If I'm reading this right, bloody US dates, change to the metric system. I'm just going to say that, but I think this is the 9th of January. I think it is. It can't possibly be, what is that, September? I think it's September, if it was the other way around. But this was applied for back in January, earlier this year. So it's interesting that people are picking up on it now. I don't remember seeing any news articles, anything when it came to this trademark. Probably because it is so obscure, right? It's not Doom game name, right? It's IDKFA. So you need to be in the know. You need to know what this cheat code was for the original Doom and connect that to the application or the applicant in being Zenimax Media. So very, very weird, but let's go back to this article because there's other stuff that I want to cover. So to be clear, it's possible the trademark isn't related to a new Doom game, but there are a few reasons to hold out hope that a fresh installment may soon be announced. So they are correct. It might not actually be a Doom game, right? It might be something tangentially related to Doom. It could be, I don't know, something related to Slayers Club on their website, or like an accessory or something else, not specifically a game, but connected to a new game of some sort. So that is true. It could really be anything. And they say here, Microsoft has already revealed plans to hold its major games showcase on June 9, which is just next month, meaning we'll learn more about upcoming Xbox games in only a few weeks. And they also say here, leaked court documents from last year also mentioned a mysterious title known as Doom Year Zero, though details on what this project could be have yet to be revealed. Now, these leaked court documents, I believe, were from the Microsoft's intended acquisition of Activision Blizzard. A whole bunch of stuff came out from that. That was where, you remember, they actually had the listing of a remaster for Fallout 3. Did we ever get that? No. Could we possibly get that down the line? Maybe. Does this mean that Doom Year Zero is actually happening? Possibly. But the problem with that is that a lot of stuff in those documents also haven't come to fruition. I believe there were some games listed there in connection with Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin, and we know what happened to those studios. So what were in these court documents might not actually be up to date, is all that I'm saying. However, it did mention Doom Year Zero, and if I was to guess, I think I said this in a previous video, if I was to completely guess, this seems like a prequel to Doom, right? Year Zero, that would be fitting of that. And maybe we could see it at this upcoming June showcase next month. Microsoft and Xbox need a little bit of a win in this regard. And if Tom Warren of The Verge is anything to go by, or anyone to go by, we might actually be seeing it. So he's repeatedly teased that a Doom announcement could arrive during the upcoming June showcase, and Eurogamer says it has heard similar information. So it's not just Tom Warren, I didn't realize this, it's also Eurogamer potentially corroborating this particular leak or rumor, whatever you want to call it. So I actually didn't realize this when I read this Verge article in the first place. I covered this in a previous video, but he ended this article by saying Microsoft will be banking on some new game announcements, lifting the Doom around Xbox, and Doom was italicized in that article. So I didn't really take note of it initially, but reading back on it in retrospect, he might have been being a little bit cheeky there and saying there could be a new Doom game announced at this showcase. That's what I've heard, but he's not directly saying that. So I was a bit confused initially. If we then scroll down, Hazardor Gaming asks, is this a hint? And then Tom Warren responds by saying no, but then he has this cheeky little gif here. He clearly knows something. Something is up. He's holding out on us. He's teasing us. I think based on this, and also Eurogamer, again, corroborating this particular rumor or leak, we might actually be getting a new Doom game announced at this upcoming Xbox June showcase. And it could be Doom Year Zero. It could be another Doom game with a different title. It could be the same game with a slightly different title. We don't know if they're sticking with Doom Year Zero, especially because it was included in those leaks. They might have changed it based on that. Who the hell really knows? But let's get back to this article because this is very interesting stuff. The last mainline Doom entry arrived in March 2020 with Doom Eternal, which went on to receive 2 expansions by March 2021. While Microsoft has recently moved to shut down Bethesda's Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin, id Software has remained quiet when it comes to how it might continue its classic FPS franchise. If a new Doom game is going to be revealed soon, there's no telling what shape it will take or if it will keep the Doom Year Zero name, which is what I said before, that leaked in 2023. Until Microsoft has more to reveal, it's probably best to take all rumors with a grain of salt. We absolutely need to take this with a grain of salt. As exciting as it would be to get a new Doom game, hopefully very soon, hopefully announced at this new June showcase, we just don't know. Plans might have changed. This particular trademark could just be something that they're intending to use right down the line and not necessarily for an imminent upcoming game. It doesn't necessarily need to be something that you're using in the next 6 months or the next year, right? So it could be a complete red herring. We don't really know, but I do think Xbox want this game to come out if it's actually real, and I'll talk about why in the closing segment. So let's get to that. So a new Doom game, maybe, potentially, hopefully. Let's see what gets announced at this upcoming showcase in June for Xbox. Touch wood, there is actually a new Doom game announced. Touch wood that it releases sometime later this year, maybe even next year. I'll take that. And also touch wood, it is called Doom Year Zero because that's a sick name. And if it actually is a prequel, I love that. If you've played the DLCs for Doom Eternal, Ancient Gods, right? You'll know how the storyline of the Doomslayer wrapped up. And I think they did a pretty good job of that. So how you take it from there, I don't necessarily know. I would actually prefer to see some sort of prequel because it gives them a little bit more flexibility in that regard when it comes to developing the storyline and the narrative of the entire Doom franchise. And I think it would just be pretty cool. It would be even just a nice spin-off. If you don't want to go on the next big arc of your Doom games, give us one spin-off. I'll be happy with that. But of course, we got to take this with a grain of salt. We don't know if it's real. But I will say this. I alluded to it earlier. Xbox needs this, man. They really do need a win after all the negativity and the news when it came to their layoffs earlier this year, them closing down Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks and Roundhouse and Alpha Dog. It's not been the best time for them, and they really do need to prove that they've got some great titles coming to Xboxes. Now, would a potential Doom Year Zero actually be an Xbox exclusive? Who the hell knows at this stage? I think initially it might be. Initially, if Sarah Bond's statement is anything to go by, it would come to Game Pass as a day one thing. And then maybe down the line, once they've exhausted everything from Game Pass and sales on Xbox and PC, then they bring it to PlayStation or maybe even Nintendo Switch. If there is a new Nintendo Switch that can support it, maybe they bring it to other platforms after that. But who really knows at this stage? I'm getting a bit confused when it comes to Xbox's strategy in that regard. They've said it's a game-by-game basis, but they still do need a win. Even if it is that initial 6 months period where it is exclusive, that's still a big win for them because we know what id Software is capable of. They're an incredible studio. I absolutely love Doom Eternal, and I have full faith that they would do a Doom Year Zero justice if it is actually real. So let me know what you think in the comments below, Wastelanders, and until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.